Is cheating something that can be forgiven? Honestly, the term forgive doesn't quite fit. Cheating is something you either accept or reject. When someone chooses to tolerate betrayal, it doesn't mean they've truly forgiven it. Betrayal isn't something you can simply move past. It stays with you forever. If someone commits betrayal, they need to realize that when it inevitably comes to light, they can't count on being forgiven. Why don't people, especially women, understand this? A real man, someone genuine and not just a jerk, won't forgive or accept betrayal. Living with a cheating partner is like smoking someone else's used cigarette. It's dirty and harmful. The reasons behind the cheating don't really matter here. Excuses like he didn't like me, he wasn't satisfying me, or he didn't see me as a woman, hold up. If you're unhappy in your marriage, just get a divorce. But most women prefer to stay married rather than chase fleeting flings. A woman who's cheating is caught up in constant infatuation, mistaking it for love. The kids and the long-term marriage mean nothing to her anymore, especially if her lover is younger. Eventually, her husband finds out everything, and she walks away proudly to be with her beloved, tearing apart everything she's built over the years. Typically, the beloved doesn't last long. After a while, reality hits hard. She starts crying and complaining, making visits to her ex-husband. Suddenly, she remembers she has children, who get dragged into the mess too. She might use anything, blackmail, tantrums, to get her way. But in the end, all that's left of the once happy family is ashes. And there's no going back. My mother left my father and me when I was just over 2 years old. My dad never remarried and poured all his love into raising me. His sister, Aunt LLA, came to the rescue. Every summer I stayed at her cottage, played with her children, Aria and Charles. When I turned 17, my father died unexpectedly, leaving me all alone. After graduating from high school, I entered the artillery college and my life as a cadet began. I had no idea where my mom was or what she was doing, and to be honest, I wasn't very interested. I knew that she did not exist and could not exist. I didn't feel anything for her. One day, I found her picture in an album, but my father took it away, leaving nothing in the house to remind me of her. After graduating, I spent some time in the military before being sent as an instructor to an African country. My job was to train their artillery troops. I worked with a mortar battery and had an interpreter since I didn't speak the local language. I served there for about 1.5 years. One day, coming back from an exercise, I broke the main rule by drinking water from local sources. It was scorching and I couldn't resist. That led to me contracting hepatitis, and I was sent back home for treatment. I was in the hospital for about 2 months. Hepatitis is a serious disease. I didn't waste any time getting to know a charming nurse named Camila, and we began an affair. I had no experience with girls. It seemed like the universe was conspiring in our favor. So by the time I was discharged, we were married. Camila moved in with me. Our son Dylan was born soon after. I wanted more children, but Camila was categorically against it, saying that she was still young and wanted to live for herself. That was the first warning signal. But I didn't think much of it at the time. The service was delayed due to long trips to conflict zones. I spent less and less time with my family. In the Army, no one cares about your personal problems. The main thing is work. From dawn to dusk, you have 2 days off, one in summer, the other in winter, and that's it. I really miss my son and wife. When I was at home, I tried to spend as much time with them as possible, but over time, I started to feel like Camila was taking up a lot of my time. She seemed to be unhappy with me, and my son also began to distance himself from me. One day, I was sent on a business trip abroad. I thought it would last a month, but it turned out that almost half a year had passed. During this time, I tried unsuccessfully to contact my family several times and wrote letters. Camila replied only once. Her letter was filled with hackneyed phrases, and it seemed that she wrote it more out of sense of duty than out of love. I didn't get any more letters from her. Someday, everything will come to an end. My business trip is over too. I got to my unit, handed in my documents at the headquarters, and headed home. Flying on wings doesn't even begin to describe how I felt. Camila wasn't there, and Dylan was playing in the yard under the supervision of a neighbor. When the neighbor saw me, she looked puzzled and said that Camila had gone to the store, asking her to look after Dylan. It seemed to me that she was hiding something from me. Okay, I took my son's hand, and we went home. On the way, Dylan started chatting about his kindergarten, his friend there, and how Dad picks him up when Mom is busy. Dad? I stopped suddenly. What Dad? Papa Oliver loves me and promised to give me a big red car. Dylan looked at me and then asked, Uncle, are you going to stay with us for a long time? I'm not your uncle. I'm your dad. My throat felt dry. No, my dad is Oliver. Mom, says he, and you'll be going far, far away soon. Dylan smiled happily. It's just that when you get here, Dad leaves home. You'll stay with us, but not for long because I miss Dad. I was stunned to find that I was in control of myself. It seemed like I should have gone berserk, rushed to Camila, and demanded answers. But my heart was only beating a little faster than usual. We returned home. I gave Dylan the presents I had brought and went to the bathroom. Under the sound of running water, I heard the front door slam. Camila must have run into the house. I took my time. She was slowly drying herself with a towel from her gym bag. At some point, I felt disgusted with everything in this apartment. I got dressed and went out. Camila was busy in the kitchen. Welcome, Liam, she exclaimed, putting on a cheerful face and tried to kiss my cheek. I'm going to feed you now. I pulled away. Don't, Camilla. Sit down and let's talk. A chill ran through my body, drowning out the anger that had flared up. It felt like I was watching myself on the sidelines, as if it was happening to someone else instead of me. Vera seemed to sense something and slowly sank onto the stool. How long have you been dating Dad Oliver? And when are you going to leave? My face became unreadable. Candela has never seen me like this. She suddenly shuddered, lowered her head, trying not to look at me. From where? What is it? She stammered. How do I know everything? I tried to smile but couldn't. My lips felt glued to my teeth. It doesn't matter anymore. You've had this for a long time. Love, almost a year. She spoke very softly. I don't know how it happened. I wanted to leave him, but it's stronger than me. He made me feel like a woman, the woman he loved. You're never home. She raised her voice to a scream. Stop it, Camila. I stood up. You're an adult, and you've made your choice. I'll file for divorce myself. I will visit Dylan whenever I can, and remember that my apartment is official. Find yourself another place to live. I threw my duffel bag over my shoulder, grabbed my cap from the hanger, and headed for the front door. You won't even ask who he is? Cannula began to sob. I shrugged, quietly opened the door, and went out. No emotions, only the cold inside. Fate is messing with our lives. First my mother left me. Now my wife has changed. She even tried to take my son away from me. Oliver's dad. I shook my head, pushing away the intrusive thoughts. Okay, time will tell what happens next. But I couldn't snatch anything. The apartment is state-owned, but we haven't acquired anything else. During the trial, Papa Oliver didn't show up. As we were leaving the courthouse, I asked CA, aren't you ashamed? Of course. I never heard her answer. I lived in an officer's dormitory for a while. She wouldn't let me near our son, so I watched it from afar, and I saw Oliver, a young, slim man with a cheeky face that screamed eternal contempt and disgust. Oh, women, where are your eyes and brains? Well, actually it's clear where. It was tough catching sympathetic glances from colleagues out corner of my eye, but no one talked about my divorce. A month passed, and Camilla stayed in my dorm. Her determination and courage had noticeably diminished. May I come in? She hesitated in the doorway. Come on in, I replied in one word. I didn't want to waste my energy and emotions dealing with her. Your son will soon have nowhere to live. She started defiantly. They offered us to vacate the office apartment. Instead, they offered a hut in the middle of nowhere. You have an apartment in your city. Sell it. Help your child. What a bastard you are, to disown your own son. She dabbed at her tears. Oliver was right. I stood up. Camila, I'll give you a minute to leave, and try not to look at me anymore. She grabbed her bag and dashed out the door. 2 more weeks had passed. One evening, when I was returning from work and on watch, I saw Camila holding Dylan's hand. Could you watch Dylan? Oliver, and I are leaking here. We'll find a new place, and I'll come back right away." She mumbled quickly, then looked away. Is someone else's child a burden to a roommate? I hugged my son tightly. She remained silent. A month later, I was transferred to South, and my life turned into a whirlwind. Gradually, I began to open up again. The most important thing was that Dylan was with me. He grew up and matured. At first, he asked where Mom was, but then he stopped talking, as if he understood everything. Canada didn't show up and didn't try to contact me, although I left my address at the hostel just in case. It was hard. I even thought about remarrying so that my son would have a mother, but I quickly realized that no woman wants someone else's child. People say that a man should love his adopted son or daughter, but a woman doesn't have to do that. So I lived alone, and when someone showed up, I didn't bring him home because I didn't want to hurt my son. 15 years have passed like this. A lot has changed. Dylan was now studying at the military academy, and as fate would have it, I returned to my hometown. We opened a military school, and I was appointed its head. I never thought that I would wear general's shoulder straps. My pants were hanging out, and I had so much work to do. Classes started in the fall, and everything became a little easier. I got some free time, and then one evening I realized that I had run out of bread. It wasn't anything special, but I couldn't have dinner without it. I was too lazy to get dressed, so I went to the nearest supermarket in sweatpants and a hoodie. I saw a slender young woman near the cash register. Damn it, it was Conneal. But what was she doing in my city? She seemed to notice my gaze and looked back. She looked me up and down. I see your life wasn't that great. What makes you say that? I forced a tight smile. Come on, I can see that. Candela stared right at me, clearly pleased that in her opinion my life had failed. At least you're not homeless. She straightened her coat and flicked her hair playfully. Apparently, her life was just perfect. I could tell she was waiting for me to ask something, but I stayed silent. Eventually, she couldn't hold back anymore. He's doing well, graduating from the academy in 2 years. I replied without asking her anything. Camilla seemed about to ask something else, but a young girl came up to us. Vera took her hand in many places. Thank God, and the rank is major, my ex-wife said haughtily. I smiled indulgently. Yes, not everyone has a successful career. He looked triumphantly at his companion. Vera, you flatter me. Unfortunately, I'm not a major, but a captain. I tried to look sad. Candela's daughter smiled. Such a young man and already a captain. She didn't hide her contempt. Yes, I failed my ex-wife. Appearances can be deceiving. Her new husband, who also came up, lost interest in me and buried himself in his newspaper. There was a young guy standing at the X of the store. Sir, your car is here. I turned around. My ex's new husband looked up. There's a car waiting for you. The guy pointed to a black executive car parked nearby. I looked back at Camilla and her companions. Her husband's jaw dropped and both women froze in stunned silence. Can I give you a ride? I asked. She asked, well, as you wish. I got into the back seat. Her husband slammed the door, got in next to the driver, and the car drove out of the supermarket, passing by the solemnly marching graduates. I went over to congratulate my son on being awarded the title and graduating from the academy. Dylan was talking to a woman. When he saw me, he smiled and we hugged. The woman turned around and looked at me. Kama, my general's uniform was a stark contrast to the wrinkled sweatpants I wore at the supermarket 2 years ago. She tried to compose herself. I came to congratulate Dylan. You don't mind, do you? She said. He was graduating from the academy. Dylan looked at me in disbelief. Yes, son, this is your mother. I tried to keep my voice steady. I don't have a mother, and the one I once had died a long time ago. My son turned to me. Come on, Dad, I still need to pick up orders at the drill hall. As we got into the car, I saw Vera standing motionless, her hands clasped to her chest, staring in our direction.